Dear students, welcome back to the online sessions on analog electronic circuits. So in the previous session, we have completed class A power amplifier analysis to find the efficiency without transformer coupling. In today's session, we'll try to complete class A power amplifier with transformer coupling and also class B type of the power amplifier analysis to find the efficiency of the transistor type of the amplifier. Okay. Now, we already discussed about this class A type of the power amplifier with the transformer coupling. That means here the output load of the transistor, that means the collector resistance of the transistor is replaced by a transformer. Okay. So in this case, if a transformer is used instead of collector resistance RC, that means the resistance value RC becomes equal to the internal resistance of the primary winding of the transformer. Now, if the transformer is a pure transformer, or even if it is a practical transformer, the internal resistance is always going to be very, very small. So if it is going to be ideal transformer, then we are going to consider this resistance across the collector of the transistor equal to 0. Because what is the winding that you're going to have in the primary and secondary of the transformer? It is the inductor winding. So the inductor winding, if it is pure, then its resistance would be equal to 0. So now we just going to proceed by considering that resistance value equal to 0 for an ideal transformer under consideration. Okay. So therefore, here, if you see, observe carefully the circuit diagram. RB is basically biasing resistor. You may have a fixed bias, you may have a voltage divider bias, right? You may have a collector to base bias, whatever may be the circuit it is. We are not going to look into it with respect to the biasing circuit. So biasing is always going to be there. We assume that biasing is there. Usually the appropriate biasing is always going to be a voltage divider bias. Voltage divider bias circuit is more utilized for the practical applications. So that is the basic voltage divider network that we prefer in all the amplifier circuits. That is the reason why when you see any practical amplifier circuit, you find only voltage divider network. That means instead of RB, you're going to have R1, and from base to ground, you're going to have one more resistor called R2. That is going to be called as a voltage divider biasing network. Okay. Anyway, so I'm not bothering about that kind of biasing you have. What I'm looking into is what kind of load that I'm having. If the load is replaced by a transformer, if a load RC is replaced by a transformer, then we simply call it as a transformer coupled type of the amplifier. That means how the output is coupled to the transistor output, it is by a transformer. Okay. Now, if the transformer is pure, we consider winding resistances are 0 ohms. That means internal resistance of an inductor is always going to be 0 if it is pure inductance. Hence, for DC purposes, resistance is taken as 0 ohms. Okay. So inductance is what? It is normally going to exhibit a reactance, just like a capacitor, just like a capacitance. Inductance is also going to exhibit a reactance. So therefore, for DC purposes, the internal resistance is taken as 0. Okay. Now, there is no voltage across the primary of the transformer under a DC level. It means there is no DC drop. Why? Because the collector resistance is taken as equal to 0. Now, what about the slope of the load line? As per the previous equation that we have discussed in the last session, that is equal to minus 1 by RC. You normally observe a decreasing slope. We normally observe a decreasing slope. What is slope? It is going to be differential y component to the differential x component. Okay. So the differential x component, if you see RC, that is equal to 0. That means the differential x component is 0 means what? you're normally going to get a vertical line. See this this is nothing but what is slope equation? It is dy by dx. Y is a vertical component, x is a horizontal component. So horizontal component, if it is equal to 0, there exists only vertical component. That means the DC load line for the transformer coupled class A power amplifier is always going to be vertical to the axis. So it is always placed vertical. So this is what important factor here for the transformer coupled amplifier. So in case of transformer coupling, we get a slope of a DC load line equal to infinity. 1 by 0 is infinity. So we will be getting it as a infinity. That is, a load line in the ideal condition is a vertical straight line. So this is the point which is important. That means the load line is normally going to look like a vertical line. Just simply a vertical line. This vertical line is known as a DC load line now for us. Okay. Now AC load line means what? It is always going to be once again a slanting line where the slope will be equal to minus 1 by RL dash. What is this RL dash? We discussed in the last session about RL dash. RL dash is nothing but the transferred resistance of the load onto the primary. Right. So now the Q point is always going to lie on at the center of the active region. Okay, it is, that's why we're putting this Q point at the center of the active region. And on this center, we normally going to have excursions of the collector current and the output voltage. Right. So we have to do the analysis. Now, analysis means what? We have to find out the efficiency. Now, how do we find out efficiency? What is the DC input power? It is nothing but VCC into ICQ. Now, what about the AC power? The slope of the AC load line just now we have drawn as something like minus 1 by RL dash. Why this minus? Minus indicates that it will be a decreasing slope. So output current is going to vary around its quiescent values. That means what? This is the quiescent value of the current, ICQ. This is the ICQ line. So on this ICQ line, we normally going to have excursions of the output current. If you observe this carefully, that means the slope of AC load line, that is output current, varies around its quiescent values. Output current is going to vary around this quiescent value ICQ. This horizontal line, zero line, is nothing but the ICQ line for us. So on this, output is going to make the excursions. That means output is going to vary with respect to the ICQ current. That is a DC current. So output voltage also going to vary around its quiescent value. That is called VCEQ. So that means here quiescent value is nothing but VCEQ. Quiescent current is nothing but ICQ. Right. So this is ICQ. It is coming on the IC axis. So on the VCE axis, you are normally going to have a point here called as quiescent point called VCEQ. Okay. So already we discussed about how we normally going to get this particular graph. It is simply an amplified version of the input signal. So input signal we are going to show on this, and output we normally show like this, right? Which is going to make excursions on the Q point. See this Q point? On the Q point, output current is coming. On the Q point only, output voltage is coming. So like that we normally indicate by using a graphical representation. That means here, in the case of power amplifiers, we do analysis on the output characteristics. So in the exam, if at all any question is asked to analyze the power amplifier, you have to compulsorily draw the circuit diagram and also the output characteristic graph. That means you have to provide the graphical representation of the output characteristics. It exhibits the performance, it exhibits the working of the power amplifier circuit. So these two indicates the operation of the power amplifier circuit. That means the graphical representation indicates the operation of the power amplifier circuit, because with respect to Q point, we normally going to figure out the firing angle. So based on firing angle, we segregate the various types of power amplifiers. So power amplifiers are segregated based on the firing angle. That is what very important. So firing angle is the starting point for the power amplifiers. So that indication we'll do only on the output characteristics graph. Okay, that is why you have to draw the output characteristic graph, which indicates the graphical representation of the power amplifier. Okay, so this is the important concept here. So AC power developed on the primary. What is the AC power developed? In general, what is AC power? It is IRMS, VRMS into IRMS. So since I am interested in finding out the output power on the secondary, on the primary winding. So primary winding means what? We have indicated this as 1. Secondary winding number, we have indicated it as 2. So if it is a primary winding, we simply call it as V1 RMS into I1 RMS. So what is V1 RMS? It is V1M by root 2, I1M by root 2. Okay. So root 2 into root 2 is equal to 2. So V1M into I1M by 2, which I can write as equal to, now I can write this equation in terms of only current or in terms of only voltage. If you observe this in terms of only current, if at all I want, this voltage I have to convert into current. What is voltage? According to Ohm's law, voltage is equal to I into R. V is equal to I into R. So therefore V1M I can write as equal to what? I1M into R. So what is R actually? I consider RL dash, transformed version of the load resistance onto the primary resistance, called RL dash. So therefore that means I1 into I1M, I1M into I1M, I1M square into RL dash by 2 is the result I get. Similarly, I can get the AC output power with respect to only voltage by simply writing V1M is equal to V1M by RL. Okay, accordingly, I can just simply write down this equation. Since I am writing on primary side, we get a transformed secondary load resistance, which is indicated by RL dash. Load resistance is RL. Transform load resistance onto primary is RL dash. Okay. So similarly, the power, AC power delivered to the load on secondary windings. So secondary windings is also same. It is output power is equal to V2 RMS into I2 RMS. That means it is VRMS, IRMS on the secondary windings. Therefore, V2 RMS, I2 RMS. Similarly, I can write the output power only in terms of current or only in terms of voltage. Okay. So thereby I can just going to have this as the overall output power equation. Output AC power equation. Okay. Now, in the beginning of this particular concept, I mentioned that we are considering the ideal transformer. So ideal transformer is always going to have a pure inductance value where its internal resistance RC is approximated to 0. If it is so, assuming the ideal transformer, then the power developed on the primary becomes equal to the power delivered to the load resistance. That means it is going to have a impedance matching. Because of impedance matching, maximum power is getting transferred. Same concept is implemented here. So because of impedance matching only, we are using the transformer coupling. So transformer coupling is the only go to have an impedance matching, perfect impedance matching, right? Therefore, the primary and secondary values of voltage are related by turns ratio of the transformer. Okay. See, the thing is that even though the circuit is electronic circuit, but we are using electrical component known as a transformer, because it becomes inevitable to have a very good impedance matching. So power, the transformer is going to be inevitable to achieve the impedance matching in the case of the power transistors when you are working with the audio frequency signals, right? When you really handle with the radio frequency and higher frequency range, then this transformer really won't work for impedance matching, right? If it is only, if you are really looking into AF signals only stick to power amplifiers, then this really holds good. That is why, since we are discussing on power amplifiers, we are sticking ourselves to the audio frequency range only. We are not moving above audio frequency range to radio frequency, microwave frequency, okay, satellite frequency, radar frequency. No, we are not looking into all those things. We are just at a very basic level, that is the audio frequency level only. So the primary and secondary values of voltage are related by turns ratio of the transformer, right? It is not just by the resistance, it is by the turns ratio. So you should know the formula for turns ratio, which we discussed already in the earlier session. Okay. Now, if efficiency is known to us, then the power delivered to the load must be calculated from the power developed on the primary, considering the efficiency of the transformer. So first of all, how much power is developed in the load on the primary should be, delivered onto the secondary, right? So therefore, you should know the efficiency basic formula. Now, already we have derived this efficiency basic formula in the previous class. The efficiency is equal to what we have written? Vmax minus Vmin into Imax minus Imin by 8 into VCC ICQ we have written into 100 if you are looking for percentage. So let us go towards finding out the maximum efficiency. Going towards finding out the maximum efficiency. So for maximum efficiency, what is that? I can write, let us see. What is going to be Vmax? That is important point here. Okay. In the case of class A transformer coupled amplifier, the center point itself is going to be VCC. This is an important point for us. So if you stretch this to the other end also, to the maximum extent also, we'll be getting 2 times VCC. So this is what the greatest thing which we are going to. So in the previous class, we discussed this. That is, if you get the KVL of the output loop, we can write VCC minus ICRC minus VC equal to 0. So because of transformer coupling, RC is equal to 0. If RC is equal to 0, what is VCEQ? It becomes equal to VCC. That means this potential, the potential at this point is normally becomes equal to this potential. This is nothing but now what? This is going to be simply VCEQ. It is going to be VCEQ for us. So this is what the potential that we normally going to have it over here. Okay. So that means VCEQ is nothing but equal to simply VCC for us. Okay. So according to the above relationship, what we can say? We can say that VCEQ is equal to simply VCC. So this is what the conclusion that we have got because of the, transformer coupling, right? So that point I'm using over here, and I'm putting here as something like when you're normally going to extend it to the maximum values, then we can write 2 times VCC. Obviously, current is going to be 2 times ICQ. So therefore, Vmax is nothing but equal to 2 times VCC. Vmin is equal to 0. Similarly, Imax is equal to 2 times ICQ. Imin equal to 0. So therefore, in this equation, Imin is 0, Vmin is 0. Vmax is equal to 2 times VCC. Imax is equal to 2 times ICQ. So that point, the same values when you really going to substitute here, then we'll be getting here as efficiency as 50%. Yeah, that means this is close to the ideal value. Close to the ideal value, which is normally required for effective transmission of signal from source to the destination. So minimum the destination or a receiver should have a 50% signal to extract the components of signal from the received one. It requires minimum 50% signal part. So here efficiency achieved is minimum 50%. Now in the previous class, we have got efficiency as 25% for a series fed directly coupled class A power amplifier circuit, that is without transformer coupling. With transformer coupling, how much we have got now? 50%. So obviously efficiency has been increased because of the transformer coupling. Okay, so if at all you want to have more efficiency still in a class A itself, what is the alternative we have? We should compulsorily go with a push-pull type. When you really go with a push-pull type, definitely the efficiency is going to get increased to more than 50%, 100%. That means more than 50% is the assurance we can give if you go with a push-pull type of the class A power amplifier. But it is not recommended to go with the push-pull type for class A type of the power amplifier. So we recommend to go to push-pull only for class B. And of course, class AB is nothing but an extended version of the or enhanced version of the class B power amplifier. That's it. That is what called, your class AB type of the power amplifier. Class D is meant only for switching application. That is a pulse circuits. It is normally used for pulse circuits. Right. So for switching between analog and digital circuits, we normally prefer, the class D type of the power amplifier. Okay. It is normally used to activate the actuators in the digital circuits. That is what the basic necessity of going for the class D. Now, what about RL dash with the simple formula of voltage by current? I can write as V1M by I1M. Okay. So V1M is nothing but the single peak maximum voltage is VCC. Single peak maximum current is equal to ICQ, because peak to peak is 2 ICQ. Here peak to peak is 2 VCC. So I can simply write it like this. Okay. So V1M is nothing but what now? It is going to be using the formula also you can able to write Vmax minus Vmin by 2. So Vmax, Vmin is 0, Vmax by 2. What is Vmax? It is 2 times VCC. Therefore, I can have a single peak value as Vim is equal to VCC. Similarly, I can write for the primary winding current as well. Next, finally, the output power I can write as equal to what? Same as the previous formula that we have got, V1M square by 2 into RL dash. So that is the basic equation we can write for the output power. Now, what are the advantages of this? When there is no input signal, what is the amount of power dissipation in the circuit? That is a point of discussion here. Okay, that is an important point to get discussed. So if you employ transformer coupling, the internal resistance RC is normally considered to be 0. If it is neglected, if RC is neglected, then there is no DC current drop. Because what is the DC voltage drop across the collector, which is nothing but equal to VCEQ. VCEQ is normally written as equal to drop across that. That is ICQ into the RC, into RC. RC, if it is 0, then the drop across that is normally taken as equal to 0. Since the voltage across load is equal to 0, there is no question of coupling that 0. So therefore, we assume that we normally going to consider that it is normally going to have very less power dissipation. Okay, in comparison to the transformerless class A type of the power amplifier circuit. Okay, so when you calculate this power dissipation is what? Power applied minus power delivered to the load. That is PD is equal to PDC minus PAC. That is called the power dissipated signal. So when you compute that, PD is nothing but PDC is nothing but what? VCC into ICQ. All right. Minus PAC. Just now we have computed AC power. This AC power we have got as what now from this formula? It is 4 times VCC into ICQ by 8. Okay. That means it is going to be 1 by 2. That is VCC into ICQ by 2 is the value which we are going to get. So therefore, we get half of this power, right, is the power dissipation. That means which is going to be somewhat less than, because we have got the power dissipation when we are discussing with the class A power amplifier without transformer coupling as how much? 3/4 of VCC into ICQ we have got. Now using transformer coupling, we have got 1/2 times VCC into ICQ. That means around 75% of power is wasted in the case of transfer class A power amplifier without transformer coupling. Only 50% power is wasted in the case of class A type of the power amplifier, because efficiency we got 50%. What happened to the remaining 50%? It went as the loss, but it is somewhat better than the class A power amplifier without feedback. Now, that means what are the advantages of this now? Class A transformer coupled. Impedance matching is not required. It's not required here because of transformer coupling. And next is maximum power transfer theorem is possible here. Maximum power is going to get transferred because of impedance matching. That is the greatest advantage. Efficiency is more than the direct fed class A power amplifier. Okay. And what are the drawbacks? Circuit is bulkier because of transformer, because transformer weight is going to be more than the electronic circuit, so it is bulkier. Frequency response of the circuit is poor because transformer is involved. The frequency response is not going to be that good. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of transformer coupled class A power amplifier with respect to its counterpart class A power amplifier direct fed circuit. Now another circuit we have seen is going to be class A push pull type. So in this push pull type, one transistor will be in the on condition, other will be in the off condition. That means at a single point of time, one transistor has to be in the off condition and other has to be in the on condition. So under that condition, we're just going to discuss about the operation of the transistors. So you should explain when Q1 is on, how the signal is transmitting through the circuit. When Q2 is on, how the signal is transmitting the circuit. Then you should provide the turns ratio, that is RL dash is equal to RL by N square, N is equal to N2 by N, all that kind of equations you have to write in the analysis part. And most importantly, what is that you have to write? The load line analysis, AC load line. The AC load line is nothing but -1 by RL dash. It is a decreasing slope that we already know, that we'll write. And Q point is on the x-axis, That means the Q point is resided on the zero line or on the x-axis. That means if a signal is above this zero level, then only it is transmitted. If the signal is below zero level, the transistor will be in the cutoff region. So no signal is going to get transmitted through the off transistor. So therefore only a single half is transmitted. See here, single half is transmitted. So that means that is the reason why I am getting a single half in the current side and single half in the voltage side. Okay. Well, now at this point, IBQ is equal to 0. That means there is no biasing current because transistor is in the off condition. IBQ is normally equal to 0. That means we will never consider that as a current, approximately equal to 0. So slope is nothing but y by x. Y by x is equal to, what is y part here? Y part is current part, that is Im. In terms of the signal I am talking about, Im by x part is what? Voltage, small vm. So RL dash, now 1 by RL dash is nothing but the decreasing slope. That's now we discussed. So 1 by RL dash is equal to Im by Vm. Therefore RL dash becomes equal to Vm by Im, obviously. So as usual, Im is the peak value of the collector current. Vm is the peak value of the output voltage across the load terminals. Now we have to find out the output power, output AC power. So Vrms into Irms. So I can write it in terms of only current, only voltage. I'll write it like this. So if I write it in terms of voltage, I can write Vm square by 2 into RL dash. If I write it only in terms of current, Im square into RL dash by 2. Let us try to calculate the efficiency now. So for finding out efficiency, PAC by PDC. PAC is nothing but what now? Vm Im by 2 whole by PDC. What about PDC? PDC Yeah, PDC is the one which is important. We have taken this equation, which is nothing but the output expression from the half wave rectifier. So the DC average DC current from the half wave rectifier is taken as equal to Im by pi. If it is current, we'll take Im by pi. If you are considering voltage, you can take as Vm by pi. Now, since two transistors are involved here, we'll write it as simply Im by pi plus Im by pi. Therefore, I can write IDC is equal to 2 Im by pi is called IDC into VCC. So therefore, I can write this as equal to 2 Im by pi into VCC is the DC input power. Right. So when you solve this, when you solve this, what do we get now? VCC. Yeah, substitute this PDC over here, and I can write it something like this equation. Right. Then percentage efficiency is equal to what I can have now? When you solve this, pi by 4 into Vm by VCC into 100. So this is the expression for the efficiency of the class B type of the power amplifier circuit. So here the DC current, total DC current in the circuit is nothing but the power drawn, is nothing but the current drawn, which is the algebraic sum of the individual average currents drawn by each transistors. That's what we have taken here in the formula. Now, what about the expression for the maximum efficiency? That is the point that we have to really consider here. Okay. So the maximum Q value means what? Just now we have seen in the equation. If RC is equal to 0, VCC becomes equal to Q. So maximum stretchable voltage is going to be what now? Vm becomes equal to VCC. So therefore, VCC I can consider is equal to Vm. So therefore, I can simply write here as Vm, instead of Vm, I can write VCC by VCC into 100. So it is pi by 4 into 100. Pi by 4 is nothing but 0.785. So into 100, that is 78.5%. This is the maximum efficiency that we can achieve in the case of the class B push-pull type of the power amplifier. Practically, the efficiency would be coming in between 65 to 70%. Definitely, it is going to be more than 50%. So definitely, it is going to be very good, efficient circuit in comparison with the class A type of the power amplifier circuit. That means this circuit is utilizing the input power to produce the maximum output. That is what called efficiency in general. Next equation is going to be for the power dissipation. What about the power dissipation in class B type of the power amplifier? So power dissipation formula is what? PDC minus PAC. Input power minus power delivered to the load. Input power is PDC, power delivered to the load is PAC. Okay. So we'll just simply expand that. PAC is equal to, just now we have got PAC as, how much is the PAC we have got here? Vm Im by 2 is the PAC. And PDC, just now we have got PDC as 2 by pi Vm into VCC. That is called, your PDC. So that is what the difference value of this. Now, when you substitute it for RL dash, and we can write 2 by pi VCC Vm by RL dash minus PAC in terms of only Vm. Here, I am writing this equation of power dissipation only in terms of voltage. So focusing only on voltage side, we can write it as Vm. So therefore, I'm writing this equation 2 as in terms of, in terms of only Vm, right? So I can write it in terms of only current, but here since VCC is there anyhow, I'm writing only in terms of voltage, because we are much more bothering on getting the voltage than the current at the output all the time. So therefore, that is how we normally going to consider only voltage we have considered. That means now coming to the power dissipation, the power dissipation in class A power amplifier is going to exist when there is no input signal. See, when there is no input signal, there should not be any power dissipation in the circuit. That means the circuit should be in a silent mode when there is no external input signal. The circuit should give the sound only when you apply the input signal. In the case of class A power amplifier, you experience some hum sound, even though there is no input signal. That is because of power dissipation. So in the case of class A type of amplifier, both transformer coupled, transformer less amplifier, we get power dissipation VCC, power dissipation is equal to VCC into ICQ. So that means without input signal, this power dissipation is going to be inevitable in the case of the class A power amplifier. That means power dissipation should be zero when there is no input signal, right? So that can be achieved in the case of the class A type of the power amplifier. So if you look into class B, if you look into class B type of power amplifier, if input is not there, then VM is zero. VM is zero means what? This entire power dissipation PD becomes equal to zero. Now, what is the conclusion we can make now? In case of this class B power amplifier, we can say that when the input signal is zero, that is VM equal to zero, we say power dissipation is also equal to zero. Therefore, the circuit is going to be a much more better circuit than the class A type of the power amplifier circuit. That means in the practical scenario, practical applications, we prefer class B type of the power amplifier over class A type of the power amplifier circuit because of zero power dissipation and maximum efficiency. These two are the main performance bottlenecks for the class B type of the power amplifier. And one more equation that is asking sometimes in the examination going to be the equation or expression for maximum power dissipation. So maximum power dissipation equation means what? Just now we got here the equation for maximum power dissipation, right? So this power dissipation depends on what now? Input voltage VM. Therefore, we have to differentiate this equation 2 with respect to VM and we equate it to 0. If it is equated to 0 means what? We are differentiated, equated that to 0 means what? Our intention is to get the power dissipation 0. That means solvable equation. LHS is equal to RHS means what? It is a solvable equation. To get a solvable equation, you have to equate the differential value of this equation to 0. That is why we are doing this. The condition for maximum power dissipation can be obtained by differentiating equation 2 with respect to VM and we equate it to 0 to get a solvable equation, right? So we simply differentiate with respect to VM now. Therefore, here I got VM. So therefore, I can just simply write here as 1 by RL dash as it is. Here I am having what is the VM square I have? 2 into VM I can write by 2 into RL dash as it is. So 2 will get cancelled. And then I can, this is equated to 0 to get a solvable equation. So when it is equated to 0, I can write 2 by pi VCC into 1 by RL dash is equal to VM by RL dash. So therefore RL will get cancelled. So VM is the one I have to get is equal to 2 by pi VCC. Now this is the condition for the input voltage to get a maximum power dissipation. Now what is the value for that maximum power dissipation? 2 by pi square VCC into 1 by RL dash is the equation for the maximum power dissipation. Now what is the condition for maximum power dissipation? The condition is VM is equal to 2 by pi into VCC. There is a difference between maximum power dissipation equation and condition for maximum power dissipation. So condition for maximum power dissipation is VM equal to 2 by pi into VCC. So this is what the equations which we have to really look into in the case of the class B type of the power amplifier circuit. So having it done with this, then the next important topic is going to be the distortion. Distortion is nothing but what? What is distortion? If the output of the circuit is not same as the input, that means if the shape of the output waveform is going to be different with respect to the shape of the input signal, then it is known as distortion. The shape should not change. If you apply a sine wave, there should be a perfect sine wave at the output. If you apply a square wave, there should be a perfect square wave at the output. So if it is so, we say distortion is not there. Right? If shape is going to change at the output of the circuit, then we say that there is going to be a distortion. There is a distortion in the circuit. So usually power amplifier suffers with the distortions. So the only problem of power amplifier is distortion. So we have to eliminate or take measures to reduce the distortion in the power amplifier circuits. You cannot make distortion equal to 0, but you can reduce to the maximum extent, nearer to 0. Right. Now here what happens is something like whenever we transmit some AC signal through a circuit. Now what kind of circuits we're going to have? We have a non-linear circuit because transistor, the signal is being transmitted through a transistor. Now transistor, we know that it is a non-linear device, right? We know that the transistor is a non-linear device because of its input characteristics. By seeing its input characteristics, we say that the transistor is a non-linear device. Obviously, the output is also going to be a non-linear output. That means which is not going to vary in proportion to the input. There will be some little bit variation between the amount of variation in the output with respect to the amount of variation in the input. That is what called linear. That is what called, you know, non-linearity. So, well, so here coming to this signal is normally going to come as output. That means input signal we apply only fundamental frequency, but output will be getting signal with many harmonic signals. Right? This is a one more problem here. Because of internal noise of the semiconductor device, it is going to produce, semiconductor device means what? It may be a p junction diode, it may be a transistor, doesn't matter. Both of them are semiconductor devices. So these two devices are going to produce harmonic signals. Okay, that is the reason why we have applied Fourier series to the rectified output when we are discussing on the rectifiers chapter. Because the p-n junction diode is a nonlinear device and it is going to produce a number of harmonics in the output. That is the reason why we have represented that in terms of the output of the rectifier using the Fourier series equation. Right. So that is what the basic thing over here. Now, same thing is applied here for harmonic, for distortion. Now, distortions are basically more importantly, three distortions: amplitude distortion, phase distortion, and frequency distortion. Obviously, three types of distortions are really crucial here. So among these two, amplitude and frequency distortions are really going to be considered. And in this, frequency distortion is more complex than the amplitude distortion. Okay, so in the next session, we go with the getting out the expression for the distorted output for a class B type of the power amplifier. Okay, so as class B is practical amplifier, I am dealing distortion equation for the class B type of the power amplifier. So until now in the examination, the examiner is asking about the distortion equation in class B type of the power amplifier. Okay, so in next session, we deal with the distortion equation of class B type of the power amplifier. Thank you very much for today's session.